Hello again, YouTube. Jake here, and welcome back to Reading Too Much Into Things. Well, December was one hell of a month for Final Fantasy news, wasn't it? Along with the up-res PC version of Final Fantasy VII coming out on PS4, and Cloud appearing in Smash, we also got our first hopeful look at the fully remastered, remade, repolished up, and reconsidered Final Fantasy VII for current-gen consoles. So, how better to celebrate how much FF7 news there was in December than to have an FF7 related rant now, a month later? A lot of ways, really. Now, if you're sick to death of everyone having covered every possible topic of discussion of Final Fantasy VII, have never really been a fan and have better things to do today, or do not want it spoiled as you never actually played it yourself, then feel free to leave a comment down below and go about your day. Don't worry, we'll wait. So, since this game has been out for near 2 decades now, I have no doubt you're asking, what topic could you possibly want to cover? The similarities between FF7 and Bloodborne, a breakdown maybe of each character's story and how they either fall too much into or break away from standard tropes. Or maybe the environmental story and how annoying or not it is. No, actually, the thing I want to talk about is a much simpler topic. Have you ever considered that Cloud may be kinda dumb? And no, I mean before he was physically traumatized, kidnapped, and used as a science project by Professor I like shooting people with a shotgun, Hojo. Let's hop into the Wayback Machine a bit to Cloud's childhood, which we only learn of far into the game's story after it's established that what he thought were his memories of going out on missions with Sephiroth and being a soldier first class, were in fact the memories of his soldier first class friend, Zack Fair. A side effect of the coma-like state Cloud was in and barely pulled out of shortly after Zack's death in order to protect Cloud. In Nibelheim, while growing up with his mother, his father had died pretty early in his childhood, Cloud was a sad, introverted, and moody little child. He knows that the other children of the town, mostly the friends of Tifa's who he didn't get along with at all, weren't as sad, moody, and introverted. They are generally happy and energetic. Outgoing even. So, this is how Cloud's logic worked things out. Those kids are happy and energetic, while the adults aren't, like me. I must be closer to an adult than a kid. It's hard being grown up. Going from the stance that he was simply more mature than everyone else, which admittedly is a common thing for children to think, we then jumped a couple of years forward in Cloud's life to when Tifa's mom died, and Tifa, in grief, ran off to the nearby mountain in hopes of meeting her mother's soul. On the way up the mountain, which is covered in monsters in the first place, so there's how smart Tifa as a child was, they come to a fairly unstable rickety bridge. That, no surprise, breaks on them. Cloud, who's trying to stop Tifa going up the mountain and getting herself killed, mostly came out of this event unharmed. A little shaken up, but no worse for wear. Tifa, who was a lot further along than Cloud was on the bridge, did not come out so lucky. She was hurt, and badly. Enough that it basically knocked the memory of these events from her mind till years later when she was told about them. When Tifa's father showed up, he, as an adult of the town, showed how smart he was, and blamed Cloud for not being more mature and somehow stopping a distraught Tifa from trying to go up the mountain. as opposed to, you know, blaming any of the adults who didn't try to stop her, or the father blaming himself for not stopping her, as opposed to blaming another child and forbidding Cloud from ever seeing Tifa again ever forever. Yeah, because that's enforceable for kids. To cap things off, Cloud just takes the blame on himself. This leads to deciding to join Shinra in hopes of becoming a soldier so he can be Ultra McTough Guy. It's hard being grown up. From there, we're going to skip over some of the stupider choices he made as a Shinra foot soldier, as the choices there aren't as life-ruining as the rest. The life-ruining choice was joining Shinra in the first place. What I will bring up is that when they finally come back to Cloud's hometown, I can understand him not revealing who he is to Tifa in front of everyone else. I can buy him going into Tifa's house to see if it changed and to be slightly creepy. But here's the thing. When Zack and Sephiroth went inside the reactor at the top of the mountain, and he was set to keep Tifa from going in and seeing Shinra's state secrets, why didn't he swallow his pride and reveal who he was then and there? I get being embarrassed. He was going to be ultra tough hero dude, fly off, and become a soldier. It turns out he is Steve Rogers before, or the super soldier serum. He's too wimpy and weak. His body can't handle it. But it makes no sense, except for setting up a way that we can have that story without a continuity flub, that he just swallow his pride, take off his helmet, and say, "Hey, it's me, Cloud, your old friend. So could you trust me and stay out here? I'm sure it's for the best." Yes, it'd be another stupid thing to do, but it would make his job easier and make him less awkward. But yeah, he hides who he is, puts all the blame on him for Tifa's harm years ago, convinces himself that he didn't like Tifa's friends because he was more mature than them, not just because they were probably dickweeds. And then when the war hero Sephiroth goes crazy, tries to attack him from the back after Zack has been struck down. This goes about as well as anyone would expect. Granted, because he's running on pure rage and Sephiroth's sword was likely so sharp that even a stab probably wouldn't actually feel like pain, this does help Cloud be able to swing Sephiroth, now wounded from his attack, directly into the live stream. Which leads to basically the whole of Sephiroth's plans and beginning to start and the whole world being put in danger. Now, I'm not saying Cloud should have known something that most didn't think was possible even when they aren't running on pure rage. But here's the thing, and the whole reason I brought this up. Even to this day, there's a lot of people who complain that Cloud's only emotion is emo. That he's just a mopey, self-centered, self-concerned ball of angst and pain, whining at the night sky that his pain is the most important and that no one can understand it. While I'm willing to admit that he starts getting like that for the movie sequel to Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, throughout the actual game of Final Fantasy VII, even when Aerith dies, oops, spoiler, Cloud is, at best, socially awkward. Mostly disconnected from what he actually feels thanks to the brain scrambling. Or just not that bright. At least that's what I read into it. Thanks again for sitting through my ramblings. Hope you have a good day, and as always, stay safe.